biggest winner of the debate. I fear we're going to sound like a broken record here, and it's partly based on the fact that maybe, and I don't know, you guys are going to have to be the judge of that we can't escape our own bubble, and from our perspective, Bernie Sanders is the better candidate, right? But we try as hard as we can to analyze how this particular debate went. And in the debate, I think Hillary Clinton constantly tried to get Bernie Sanders to attack President Obama, and she failed with that strategy. He didn't really do it, and anytime he did do it, he had that zinger of a line when he came back and said, I didn't run against him, you ran against him, right? So on that political count, I got to give it to Bernie Sanders. I think that John made a great point in the coverage. Look, a lot of people know Hillary Clinton. They kind of roughly know where she stands, although sometimes they might be finding out new things, but almost no new things they find out about her helps her. It's usually things they find out, they're like, ooh, I didn't know that, right? That even happened to me just yesterday when I found out how terrible her record was and Bill Clinton's record was on African Americans. Michelle Alexander with a devastating article about that. She's one of the leading experts in the country about incarceration in this country, especially for African Americans. And so, but a lot of people in these debates do find out about Bernie Sanders. That's their first introduction to Bernie Sanders. And if this is your first introduction to him, you go, well, I mean, this guy's talking about maybe we should all be equal. Maybe my kids should have an opportunity and an education too. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should have health care as a right. And then Hillary Clinton turns around and says, no, trying for more health care would be contentious. She's in that same corner she was in 2008. So I got to say, in this debate as well, it seemed like not just on ideology, but on tactical points, I got to give it to Sanders over Clinton.
Yeah, usually Sanders does not do as well as Hillary when it comes to issues regarding foreign policy. Usually he comes off as someone who is not as experienced, not as confident in his talking points. Look, I have to be honest, I agree with Bernie Sanders' foreign policy more than Hillary's, but I'm just specifically talking about messaging and confidence and how it comes across in debates. This was the first debate where I felt like Bernie did a good job in outshining Hillary. Hillary was the first one to answer questions about foreign policy, and I immediately tweeted about how I have to give her a lot of credit about how confidently she speaks. Again, I think that she's too hawkish. I don't agree with her points, but she comes across as more confident, more knowledgeable. And then Bernie hits her with a 1-2 punch, and he's extremely aggressive. The Kissinger line was a great line. And so for that reason, I feel like he really dominated in this debate. I think he was strong on all the issues. And in the end, Hillary makes a statement about how, well, I'm not a single issue candidate. Money in politics impacts every single issue in our political system. And I think that came across as an incredibly ignorant statement.
Yeah. And it wouldn't even be fair if that was his one issue. Yeah. I mean, which it isn't. That's the thing. In neither case is it accurate.
How proclaiming that you're not a single... Here's what I hear. Most people are single-issue voters. Most people have one thing they care most about, I think. And when you hear Hillary Clinton trying to win votes by saying, I'm not a single-issue voter, meaning I don't really care that much about that thing you care that much about. Trust me. I don't care that much about anything. Yeah. I care about a lot of things a little, but nothing super a lot. Yeah. And that's what a losing strategy is that. You got to say, this is what I care about. This is my reason for running. This is the reason. Bernie has a reason. She doesn't. And she's admitting she doesn't. I don't have a reason. I have lots of little reasons.
God, you guys have been making such great points all night. Seriously. Mostly because people, mostly people are hearing subconsciously, I'm not driven by anything when she says that, right? Like, Bernie's like, I'm in this race because the income inequality is terrible. Yes. We got to do something about it. The first thing you got to do is get the money out of politics because they're the ones buying all the politicians. Yeah. Like, he's driven by that. You can tell, as Anna pointed out, he's passionate about that. And when she says, I'm not a single issue thing, she means it as in a way to demean Bernie Sanders. But what you hear implicitly is, I don't really care that much. And you know that's one of her problems. You know that she likes power. She's been running for president for a long, long time. Yeah. And what is the uniting theme of Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2008 and 2016? I dare you. There is no uniting theme. The only uniting theme is, I really want Hillary Clinton to be president. Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. There is like, do you remember what she was really gung-ho about this in 2008, and she's still gung-ho about it in 2016. That's why she's got to get in office and get that done. Does anybody know?
Getting into office and getting something else done, maybe. I think that he won the portion that he won in the last one, the domestic politics. I think that many people, aside from the Kissinger stuff, which I thought was great, and I think people are going to leave thinking, oh, she takes advice from war criminals. That's interesting. I think that she won the foreign policy stuff. Some of the stuff, when he was speaking about Russia, when he was speaking about Syria, I didn't find what he was saying to be particularly persuasive or compelling. Again, I think that the idea that someone who is just running for president now should bring on a bunch of people with extremely strong opinions about Russia, and that's necessarily a good thing. It's not working for Hillary with Kissinger. I don't like that Bush has surrounded himself with George W.'s old advisors. I don't see why that would be an advantage, but I think that a lot of people could potentially think that. And so that might lead you to believe that I think it's split. I don't think it is in this case, because 2/3 of the debate was on those domestic issues that I think people find far more salient in presidential elections. And so she can continue to win on the foreign policy stuff, and that might help her a little bit. But it won't help her even as much as it would in the Republican Party. At the end of the day, people care about what goes on around them. And Democratic voters aren't as filled with terror as the Republican voters are.
I do want to say one thing in defense of Bernie Sanders' foreign policy responses. Again, I thought he had one of the better lines of the night when he said, look, you keep talking about your experience, but the experience has to equal better judgment. And you know, I keep bringing up, or you say, oh, you keep bringing up Iraq. Hillary Clinton had a good zinger there. You know, voting how you did in Iraq in 2002 doesn't affect what we're doing here in with ISIS in 2016. Good line, right? But then he turned around and said, yeah, it does, because it shows you your judgment.
And if everybody had voted the way he voted, we might not have ISIS today. That should have been the response.
Oh, that's even better. It looks like they're both incredibly well prepared. I mean, there's no Ben Carson here by a mile, right? There's no like, oh, I wanted to talk about Russia because I wrote one of my advisors wrote down something about Russia.
They also brought extra outfits just in case.
Yeah.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish tranquility, and establish.
So they're all, and sometimes Rubio's well prepared with his talking points, and people give him a lot of credit. He ain't a quarter as well prepared as these guys.
Let's be clear.
Yeah, I mean, I want to dispel the notion that Marco Rubio is as well prepared as these Democrats, because he is not. He is not, okay? And so Hillary Clinton had a lot of good jabs that she had gotten ready. She did a good job of preparation, and Bernie Sanders was even more prepared, ready to parry those and then come back with his own line. So impressive all around in that sense.
Can I add one thing to that?
Sorry.
Not only did he come back at her with well-prepared, very specific answers, he also, it's incredible. I mean, he goes out of his way to avoid attacking her, which I really respect. But in this debate, he went out of his way to compliment her several times, right? Mm-hmm. And I love that he does that, because he shows that he wants to debate on the issues. He does not want to hit below the belt. I know I use that phrase a lot, but it's just what really comes out or comes through when I'm watching these debates. It doesn't get dirty, right? And if she hits him with something that might seem like a little bit of an attack, he doesn't take the bait, and I really respect him for that.
Although, ironically, he did say about her saying that he doesn't support Obama, that was a low blow.
Right.
And he partly says that because he knows it'll get in the news.
Yeah.
It's not like he's not a politician. He is. He knows. And he's trying to appeal to African-American voters, too. So, but within the parameters of what he believes in his ideology.
Matter of strategy, don't just say that was a low blow. Say that was a low blow and it's not true. Mm-hmm. Saying it's just a low blow implies, oh, that really hurts, that's mean, but it's true potentially.
That's a good point, yeah.
You need that to be in the soundbite.
Yeah.
I don't, Hillary's thing about that I'm a fighter and I'm going to get things done. But Bernie Sanders is a fighter who's not going to get them done because he's a fighter. Somebody tweeted this at me. I just want to repeat it. So when she says, yeah, I'm a fighter, but I'm not willing to fight for Medicare for all. I'm a fighter. I'm not willing to fight to get money out of politics. She's not. She only says unaccounted for money. She never says accounted for. She just means dark money. Bernie wants to get all money out. So here's what we can't get universal, we can't get Medicare for all. We're the country that put a man on the moon, we split the atom, and we beat the Nazis. I think we can get universal health coverage for everybody.
Yeah.